IPS things, which has all kinds of various implications if you think about it for, like, say, doing banking from work and having the sysadmin now know what your account number is and whatnot. That can be kind of creepy. Attackers have been known to sniff for certain types of encrypted traffic and then attack those particular endpoints, particularly if the endpoints are interesting. Does everyone remember a few years back when Microsoft, they had a break-in, and they said, oh, the attacker was in for a week, or it says in for 3 weeks or something, then they changed it to a week, and then changed it to 4 days. And they says, oh, well, he had read-write access to this. No, it turns out he only had a read-only access to Office 2003. You remember all that stuff? All right, okay. The attacker was Chinese. Big surprise there. And he was in for months and months and months. And I knew lots of people that worked at various security companies that would get called in to go work on this problem. And part of the problem was they had multiple ways to get into Microsoft from the internet. So they had multiple ways in, and they were trying to, like, say, one guy I know was mapping the entire internal network to find all the pipes going out, so they could try to do some type of closure on it. But also, the guy was also, popping ISPs in the Redmond area and looking for people that have DSL links, and one endpoint was going over to Microsoft. And so he compromised their home computer, and then from there come in over their encrypted link. Okay? So that kind of stuff does actually happen. Symmetric algorithm pluses. This is used all the time. Everyone, the whole idea of, like, on the command line, I'm going to encrypt this file. So this is the big thing. The algorithms in a lot of cases, like, say, for when you're doing, like, some type of asymmetric algorithm, your PGPs and these types of things where you're doing key exchange. A lot of times the key exchange is just to come up with is holding the actual key, and the underlying key that's actually doing the underlying crypto of the file is actually a symmetric algorithm. These are fairly well tested. They're fairly common. There's tons of them. Probably one-time pads. Does everyone here know what a one-time pad is? Okay, these are considered. Pardon? Yes, exactly. One-time pads are considered potentially the most secure and the most resilient algorithm to attack. Okay, I mean, this is the way you want to go. Okay, if you're going to do stuff. The problem is that, which we'll get to here in a second, is that the key management with one-time pads is a complete and total bitch. And just so you understand what a one-time pad is I just take, let's say I have a file that's 100K, let's say it's 100K, and I want to encrypt it with a one-time pad. Well, what I'm doing is I create a key of random material, and it needs to be pretty random material, and so my key is 100K. All right? So it's like, as big as this is, that's how big my key has to be, or my pad. And then XOR. That's it. That's all you got to do. And then boom, then the other side is, it's just very, very secure. Obviously, you don't want to use the pad more than once. That's a problem. And there's a few other caveats, like you want to make sure that like I said, the key exchange. Oh, come on. For what? What's the objection? What was it?
Assuming that you have a source of purely random data, one-time pads need to have 100% random key material in order to be 100% secure.
That is correct. Yeah, that is correct.
How many sources of purely random data do you have?
I don't have any sources of purely random data. Okay, well that's a part of this. Okay.
Computer systems are 100% secure in your block.
No, but you do need, like he's saying, he is saying, we do need. Yeah, gamma rays. Yeah, there are sources to get truly random data. Now, odds are most people in their homes do not have this. Okay. Or we think We'd like to hope that. But there you go. By the way, that was a good shot. I mean, there's lights here. I can't see a damn thing. It's just like, bam! It's like, wow. That was impressive. That was impressive. Asymmetric algorithms. Thanks to PGP, which is more or less the de facto standard for this type of thing, they're getting much easier to use. And so people are using them more. You can get plugins that go into your email clients. You can get all kinds of nice little fancy GUI things on them. They are considered unbreakable for the most part, and that's going to be kind of up for debate among various people. But nonetheless, they are, for the most part, you could consider them unbreakable. The problem with them is they're still very hard. The concept itself is very hard. Now, let's just take PGP, for example. Everyone understand the idea of the ring of trust and you've signed keys, and that way you can tell if this person's trustworthy because they've signed keys. And then they have key signing parties where people show up and they show each other their driver's license and say, oh, look, this is really me. Okay, everyone familiar with that? Okay, well, the key signing parties are not that great of a thing. I don't know how many people here know Druid. He's a green-haired individual that's always around the cons. He came to DEF CON for a key signing party. He had a novelty, it said novelty in real small letters on the back, Texas driver's license, and he had the name Simple Nomad on the front. It had his picture, and I don't have a copy of it because I didn't want to fly into Washington, D.C. of all places with multiple forms of identification. But his picture on it is like this. With his green hair, and of course it's really funny too because it's like 1337 Hacker Way and all this other kind of bullshit. And so he takes it. His goal was to, because it was Jeff Moss was doing this key signing party, which he didn't show up, and he was actually going to prove how silly the whole thing was by going up to DT and saying, "Hi, I'm Simple Nomad. Sign my PGP key." And he had a key. There's a key out there made, and there's people that have signed it. He got people to sign it, and he was explaining, what it was like to be me and stuff to strangers. So even I don't know what it's like to be me. I hear it's really rough. All right. Now the threat models. I'm just going to touch on this just briefly. I mean, you got to think about if you're going to be doing this kind of crypto stuff. To protect your data, you've got your noobs, and you've got your people that are, the hacker types. There are organized criminals and stuff. I don't know how much of a threat organized criminals are to some of the people in this room. Hopefully none. Terrorists, certainly that could be some. Nation states, and the three-letter acronym people. Those are kind of, and not just our gov, but other govs and whatnot. I mean, I'm not just applying this just to the United States, although I do kind of, I guess, tend to lean to that by saying .gov. But they are the big boy on the block, okay, when it comes to doing the crypto thing. So you have to keep that in mind. But I want you to think about, where your threats are actually going to lie, where your threats are going to be coming from. You don't need to go like, gonzo military crazy to protect your data against a noob, or if you have like data that really isn't that exciting anyway. Okay? You should, try to match stuff. All right. I'm looking for a thing to block balls with here. People are arming themselves. All right, this is the tinfoil hat slide. Now, I'm going to go ahead. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not necessarily saying that I agree with everything on this slide. All right? So I may be throwing a ball at myself for all I know. But I just want to let you know that, I mean, these are snippets and rumors. Okay? Everyone, I've had some of these pseudo kind of confirmed, so to speak, and some of them I haven't. And some of them just seem too outlandish, but I think I'm just going to throw them out there to help